A bit of a different video today. I got asked by Peter Robson over on Twitter who my all-time starting 11 would be for Newcastle United if I could only choose one player from each team. Let's have a look. Okay, I thought long and hard about this and I ended up going for a 4-3-3 system because we have had, I think up front we've had a lot of good options and I really wanted to pick the extra player in that position rather than in midfield. What I also realised when I did this was most players have actually come from England. It's only really been in the last 15 to 20 years when we've seen lots of foreign arrivals. Okay, let's start off then in goal. I've actually gone for our current goalkeeper, Dubravka. I actually do genuinely believe that he is the best keeper we've had, and I did think about putting Shea Given in, who I also really loved, and he obviously made loads of appearances for us, but Dubravka for me is just a better all-round keeper, and I think it's kind of widely agreed that he's in the top 3 keepers in the Premier League right now. At right back, I've gone for Northern Ireland's Aaron Hughes. He did a great job for us, and he was, he played all along the back four actually, but he played quite a lot of his games under Bobby Robson at right back, and he did a really solid job. I was really disappointed when we sold him, and I couldn't pick an English right back because one of my other players is from England, so obviously that ruled out Warren Barton, Barry Venison, and people like that. So I've ended up going for Aaron Hughes, but he's a great utility player, and actually if you wanted to change the formation of this team, Aaron Hughes would give you the ability to do that. Okay, on to the centre backs. I've gone for Fabrizio Colaccini as one of my centre backs from Argentina. Perhaps not the greatest defender we've ever had, but again, because I'm restricted to one player from one country, options became more limited at centre-back. I probably would have put Jonathan Woodgate in there if I could have had an extra English player. My second centre-back is from Belgium, and obviously very famously scored that goal over the chip over Peter Schmeichel. It's Philippe Albert. What a player he was as well. He wasn't just he didn't just score a great goal. He was actually a very, very solid defender, more than solid defender. He was absolutely brilliant centre-back, one of the best in the league at the time. He was a great player and a great servant for the club. If you look at the actual facts of that season, we had one of the best defences in the league, and Albert was a big part of that. At left-back, I've gone for Spain's Jose Enrique. Another player actually that I was disappointed left when he did. He was playing in an era when there was a lot of unrest and upheaval, so he was a really good left back. I really enjoyed watching him as well. He could attack really nicely as well. That's why I always like fullbacks who can attack well, and he was really good at overlapping and getting crosses into. Okay, my 3 midfielders now. On the right wing, I've gone for Nobby Solano, obviously from Peru. I'll tell you a story about Solano. The first season I watched him play, I will hold my hands up and say I wrote him off. And I didn't, because he actually didn't have the best start in England, but what a player he was. And once he found his feet in England, he became one of the best wingers in the league. His ability to cross the ball was incredible. He could take an amazing free kick. He had great vision. He linked up really well in that Bobby Robson team, when we had great forwards with Shearer and Bellamy, and Solano was a huge part of that, and I loved him, and I couldn't have been more wrong about him. My central midfielder is a Welshman, Gary Speed, one of the all-time most performances in the entire Premier League, Gary Speed. He did score quite a few goals, and he had this habit of appearing in the box at the right time. The fact is, he was an all-round complete player. He was great at defending, great at attacking, and that is why he played so many games. I think it was definitely over 500 games in the Premier League. I mean, that is an incredible record for any player to do that. You don't do that if you're not a good player, and Gary Speed was one of the best. And at left wing, it's a Frenchman. But the question is, which Frenchman? Now, if you follow my Twitter feed, you'll probably know the answer to this by now. I love David Ginola and I love Laurent Robert. But I picked Laurent Robert, and the reason I've done that is because I got more out of him as a fan than I did from Ginola. Ginola was unbelievably good. He was exciting to watch. He had more skill than probably most players I've ever seen play. But Robert, for us, he produced more. That's basically why I really loved him. And there was always this. I was always a defender of Laurent Robert. There was always an army of fans who would say he was lazy and didn't track back. But I just think a player like that you've just got to accept that what he offers you in your team, and it's the same for Ginola, to be fair, he had the same accusation thrown at him. If you have Laurent Robert in your team, you had a chance to score, you had a chance to win. His free kicks were just, he's so underrated in that respect. Like, when people talk about great free kick takers in the Premier League era, Laurent Robert never really gets a mention, yet his record from them is unbelievable, and some of the actual free kicks he took, I always remember one, I think it was against Southampton at home, and he rifled it in from 35 yards or something, and it was just like an absolute bullet. Unbelievable, great player. Yeah, so I've gone for Laurent Robert. Okay, my front three now. So this is tricky. I'm going to start with the obvious one. My English player is Alan Shearer. You can't not have Alan Shearer in your team up front. So Alan Shearer, I picked. There's not, I mean, I don't really need to sell the fact that he was an amazing player who scored a record amount of goals for Newcastle and, you know, served us for 10 years exceptionally well and was just, you know, one of the greatest strikers this country's ever produced, if not the best striker this country's ever produced. So joining him up front, I've also gone for Demba Ba. Now, I know Demba Ba didn't play for us for that long, but I wish he had played for us longer. He had the ability to score goals almost out of nothing. He was a presence up front. He quite liked playing with his back to the goal and then being able to kind of bring other players into the game and stuff like that. So he was really good. He scored, his goal scoring record for us was very good in the short time he was with us. I'd have loved to have seen him play longer. And my final choice up front is Tino Asprilla from Colombia. Absolutely superb player. I mean, what can I say about Tino that hasn't already been said? The guy was absolutely nuts. He was crazy, but what a footballer he was. And I know some people again argue that him coming in disrupted the balance of the team in that almost title-winning season. I don't really buy that. I think there was other things going on that Newcastle could have done better that season. I don't think Asprilla was the problem. Now, he gave us a lot of joy in the time he was with us. His hat-trick against Barcelona, his crazy celebrations. He was just a brilliant footballer. And, you know, imagine him linking up with Shearer and Demba Ba in that thing with Robert and Solano feeding into that sort of front three. It would just be unbelievable. So, yeah, there's my team. So let's have one final look at the team. So Dubravka in goal, Aaron Hughes at right back, Colaccini and Albert in central defence. Left back is Jose Enrique from Spain. I've got a midfield three of Solano, Speed and Robert. And then up front, we've got Demba Ba, Tino Asprilla and the main man, Alan Shearer. What do you think of my all-time Newcastle 11 if you can only have one player from one country? I would like to know in the comments below what your team would be. Would you change anyone? Would you have the same team as me? Let me know. And don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. And I will see you really soon for another video.